get it. But my best split ever in the 400 IM was 122.8 in the 100 breaststroke. This guy's 13 and a half seconds.
I think we need to start over because YouTube never connected.
Whoops, it didn't.
So. Alright, we're gonna start from the top, but we are live.
Okay, we had a little technical glitch there. We started, but apparently we had a false start, so we are starting over. This is Coach Gary at the Race Club. Welcome you all to our live broadcast from YouTube. We have an amazing program today. We're going to cover a lot of events. We're going to recap some of the events that were swum last night in the finals, and we're going to talk about some of the events in the prelims this morning, and also we're going to preview the finals for tonight. We've got a great program on NBC tonight, and I hope you all will catch that. Let's start with what are we going to recap. We're going to look at the 400 IM for men, the women's 400 IM, the men's 400 meter free. What an upset that was with the Tunisian Ahmed. I'll probably mispronounce his name, but it was, let me see, I had it written down here. It's just 1 second. Haknaoui, Ahmed Haknaoui, 18 years old, and he wins from lane 8 in the finals of the 400 free. Great swim for the Tunisian. And then we're going to also recap the women's 4x100 free relay, an amazing swim by Australia. So in the finals preview, we're going to preview the women's 100 fly. That's shaping up to be the race we all anticipated with all the favorites in the finals. And the men's 100 meter breaststroke, that's going to boil down to who's going to get second place. I think Adam Peaty has established himself as what he is, the most dominant force in the sport of swimming. Women's 400 meter free is going to be a great race, but it's a matchup, again, as we predicted, between Ariane Titmus and Katie Ledecky. And then the men's 4x100 meter free relay. I'm going to give you my predictions in that one. We almost saw Russia not get into the finals, and there they are in lane 8 and possibly could win it tonight. That's how good they are. So that's going to be a really fascinating race as well. Then we're going to do a little bit of a finals preview for tomorrow with the women's 100 meter breaststroke. Had the prelims this morning. Great swim by the South African Tatiana Shoemaker. And the men's 100 meter backstroke, that's going to shape up, I think, into a 3-man race, although the guy from Italy was really fast this morning. And then the women's 100 meter backstroke, also, I think, a 3-woman race for the gold medal. It's going to be some really great races tomorrow night. Let's start with the recap of the men's 400 IM.
You want to talk about membership?
Oh yeah, before I get into that, membership. For those of you who have not already joined the Race Club YouTube membership, you can go to the Race Club YouTube channel, just click on join, and by joining, you're going to become an elite member. It's $4.99 a month, but you're going to get new content that's going to come out every week from us, and you're going to see videos that no one else gets to see. For example, this one we released today to our elite members on the Race Club channel called Medium Octane Recovery, and this is Jimmy Fegan, who was a 2016 Olympian, swam University of Texas, 47.5, world champion, 100 meter freestyle, using a medium octane freestyle. Those of you watching the 100 meter free tonight on the relay for men and last night on the women saw a lot of the athletes using medium high to high octane in the 100 freestyle. So that video will explain more about why these athletes are using that type of recovery and how important that technique is in this. I don't want to call the 100 freestyle sprint event because it's not. It's a middle distance race, and it's like a 400 meters in track. But these guys are, most of them are bending the elbow slightly using kind of a medium high octane on the recovery. All right, so let's jump into first a recap of the men's 400 IM. Last night, we were happy to see Chase Kalish win in 409.4. Jay Litherland from the U.S. was second, and then Brendan Smith from Australia third at 4:10.38. I want to point out, though, that in the Olympic Games, it's not always about time. Sometimes it's just about racing. We don't always see a world record. This was well off the world record. In fact, Phelps world record of 4:03 in this event, I consider to be one of the greatest swims of all time. But just to put this event in perspective, I felt Chase really swam a smart race here. He's very easy in the fly, going out in 56 plus, which sounds fast, but for him, he's a 154 200 flyer. He was comfortable going out. Now, if he has a weak leg, it's his backstroke. And you'll see Chase going, I think, 104.1, backstroke split. Not particularly fast. He loses some ground, but whatever he loses in the backstroke, he makes up in the breaststroke. And this is a guy who has amazing, a little bit like Michael Andrew, just has amazing distance per stroke. And this was taken from the Olympic trials where he swam. I didn't think he swam quite as good a race as he did in the Olympics, but he swam well enough here to qualify and win, and then he goes to the Olympics and wins with a 4:09. Just to put that in perspective, I held the world record in the 400 IM for 5 years. The best split I ever did was 122 in the breaststroke split, and Chase split 109.1 in his breaststroke. Imagine 13 seconds giving up in a breaststroke leg. But his breaststroke is phenomenal. It reminds me a little bit of Michael Andrew. He's tremendous propulsion, stroke rate of 31, and tremendous distance per stroke on his breaststroke. He was so far ahead at the breaststroke, he almost could have taken a nap on the freestyle and still won that. Coming home in about a minute, not particularly fast, but he didn't need to be. What you are going to see at the end of that 400 IM is a tremendous finish. And this is why this race, to me, is so fascinating. It's never over until it's over. There were two guys, Brendan Smith from Australia and Jay Litherland from the United States, who seemed like they were out of it at 300. Those two guys came home, and I don't even know what their splits were, but they were probably 56, 57. And they came back and just charged up and placed second. Jay got second, and Brendan Smith from Australia was third in 4:10.2 and 4:10.6. So, or 4:10.3, I'm sorry, and 4:10.2 for Litherland. The guy who was fourth in this race, by the way, was David Verazzo from Hungary. And I only mention his name because he's a great swimmer, but his dad, Zoltan Verazzo, swam against me. He was a great backstroker from Hungary. I think he held the world record in the 200 back for a while. And two of his kids, David and his daughter Evelyn, became great swimmers for Hungary. David unfortunately finished out of the medal very close with a 4:10.6. Now we want to review the women's 400 IM. And Yui Ohashi from Japan ends up winning. I think she was favored. She's been faster than that. Again, it's about racing. And I have to say that Yui won this race on her breaststroke leg, splitting a 1:16.1, I believe, in her breaststroke, which really, actually 1:16.9, but really fast, pulled ahead. Emma Wyatt also had a great breaststroke leg. Emma was trying to catch her at the end, just ran out of water and didn't have enough room. If there had been another 25 meters, I think Emma would have caught her. Great swim for Emma Wyatt. Second, silver medal, 4:32.7. And then Haley Flickinger got the bronze medal at 4:34.9. Great swim for the two Americans. But Yui won that. I do want to point out one thing, and I reviewed this on YouTube. And it points out one of the interesting things about the crossover transition, which all three of these medalists did in their back to breast. But when you look at Yui, she's ahead at the 200, but she actually misses the wall with her hand because, and the reason you know that is it shows up when it gives you the split times at 200. She's actually a half a second on the split times behind Haley Flickinger. And Haley was clearly not ahead of Oi at the time. So Yui probably missed it with her hand, but came so close that nobody could see it. And she touched with her feet, not with her hand. So it's interesting to go back and look at that. I don't think many people will catch that. You see Yui here. She has a very vertical recovery, very relaxed here. A lot of the Asians swim with a very vertical arm recovery we've talked about in the past. But a great swim for Yui. Congratulations to her, and great swim for the two Americans. And now the men's 400 free. Oh my gosh, what an amazing swim for the Tunisian. And you know, if you'd had a bet on him in Las Vegas, you'd be rich today because nobody expected Ahmed Hafnaoui to win the 400 free. In fact, he got into the finals, I think, by a tenth of a second or less. Barely got in there. And from lane 8, he wins the finals. Now, I want to point out one thing, and again, I can't show you the video of the race, but Ahmed had about a 90 stroke rate. You see this, very interesting race, very fascinating race, because at 300, anybody could have won that race. It boiled down, as it often does in the 400, into the last 50. But what I want you to pay attention to are a couple of things with Ahmed Stroke. This kid's only 18 years old and not afraid of anything. What I wanted you to look at is the entry of his hand. And remember, we talked about this with David Popovici the other day, about how he extends his arm fully, and the first thing he hits the water with his recovery is his tricep, not the hand. This is the equivalent to the ascending trajectory in butterfly. But you see Ahmed do that with the left hand, and here you see it do it with the right hand. Upper arm is already hitting the water. His hand is above the water, fully extended before it enters. Now, there aren't many people that make a big deal out of that, but I do. I think that's really important. I think that's one of the reasons why David Popovici has a great freestyle. I think that's one of the reasons why this 18-year-old from Tunisia won. But really, the key moment in this race was about 10 meters from the wall at 340 meters before they made the final turn. You see Ahmed kick it in. He doesn't wait till they make the turn and come off. He's one dolphin kicking up, but he starts his charge from the last end of this race, not 50 meters or 40 meters from the wall, but 60 meters from the wall. He goes into that last turn like a madman with a vengeance and a kick that is, to just foam everywhere. And he finishes at a 90-plus stroke rate, ending at a 95 stroke rate. If Kieran Smith had a higher stroke rate in the last 50, perhaps he could have caught him. But he goes from a 70 stroke rate up to about 80, whereas Ahmed goes from 90 up to about 96 to finish. And they both have strong kicks to finish. But a great swim for that young man from Tunisia. Congratulations to him. Now let's talk about the women's 400 free relay, where Australia really did an amazing job and won handily, easily. We expected them to give them fair due. But sometimes they show up, sometimes they didn't. Well, last night they showed up in force. And I just want to shout out to Emma McKeown, who swam the third leg in 51:35, and really, until that point, it wasn't so clear who was going to win, who wasn't. They weren't that far ahead. When they went into that third leg, Emma McKeown, you see here in the trials in lane 4, and Kate Campbell anchored in 52, I think 1 or 2, 52.2. Really, really fast swims, and that just solidified Australia's gold medal. But here you see Emma and Kate together, finishing 1-2 in their trials. And I tell you, this paints a really good picture for Emma McKeown in the 100 fly tonight. And I really have to change my predictions a little bit, because she could have an amazing 100 fly because of this confidence-building 100 freestyle she did, 51.3 on that relay. Kate split 52.2. The kudos to the Canadians, Penny Olesiak, who finished with a 52.2 also, same time basically as Kate Campbell, comes back 52.2. Great comeback for her. She's been struggling for the last couple of years and won the silver medal, earned the silver medal for Canada. Our butterflyer for tonight, Maggie McNeil, was on that relay as well, splitting 53.4. 100 free is not her best event, so I don't know that I would be too concerned about that. I still have a high hopes for Maggie tonight in the 100 fly. The United States finished third, and I think Abby Weitzel had a great split on there at 52.6. Really a strong leg for Abby. Erica Brown unfortunately struggled on her second 50, and getting off in 54.02 was just put the U.S. too far behind. I think Simone finished with a 52.9. Would have liked to have seen her go a little bit faster than that, but we'll see how she does in the 50. So that was a great gold medal win for Australia. It'll be interesting to see how it affects their morale in this Olympic Games. What a great start for them. Now let's go to the women's 100 fly, and this is going to be the race we predicted. And Yufei Zhang she didn't hold anything back in the semifinals, going 55.89. And the ones that we expected to be in the finals are there. We have Emma McCown in lane 3, we have Yufai in lane 4, we have Sarah Sjostrom in lane 6, Maggie McNeil in lane 7, and we have Tori Husk in lane 2. Any one of those girls, in my opinion, could win. Any one of those girls could go under 56. Will we see a world record tonight? Maybe not, probably not. I don't think it's going to take that necessarily to win this race. But I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to tell you, only because I'm biased, and I really think Maggie McNeil is going to win this from lane 7. You might be thinking, how in the world is she going to go that fast? But she did that in 2019, dropped almost a second in the finals. Strong kick, and I hope she swims it like she did there. She's going to lay back a little bit at the 50 and hopefully come home. My prediction for second, though, changed, and I'm going to go with, let me bring out my sheet here because I had it all written down. I think Emma McCann gets second. I'm just so impressed with the way she swam that relay last night. I didn't have her predicted originally in the medal count, but I think she's going to go second, and I think Yufai Zhang from China gets third. Sarah Marie Mattel from France, also great swim for her. She is, Maria was 56.1. I think that's her best time ever. I don't expect her to go faster, but you never know. And then Sarah, you can never count out Sarah Sjostrom at 56.4. But I look tonight for an upset in lane 7. I look for Maggie to win the gold, and I think Emma gets second and Yufai gets the bronze medal. Now we go to the women's, or the men's 100 breaststroke, and this one is really Adam Peaty's race, and I think here the question is who's going to get second. I think here you've got a clear delineation between the top 3 and the rest, and I do think that the gold, silver, and bronze are in your middle lanes. I think Adam Peaty's going to win the 100 breast tonight. I'm predicting Arno Kaminga gets the silver, and I think the Italian who swam a great race, Niccolo Martinenghi, will get the bronze medal. Both are considerably ahead of the rest of the field, and I think the rest of the field is going to have a hard time making up that difference. So, look for Adam to swim his typical race. Going to go out fast, 26.6, 26.7. The question is anybody going to be able to hang with him? Michael Andrew may be out there at the 50. He's not going to be able to finish with these guys. You're going to see the Italian actually kept those 3 guys in the middle, really had the high stroke rates. And here you see Adam getting out 26.6 in his world record swim. Will you see a world record tonight? I don't know. I don't think so. I think maybe a 56.9, 56.8, 57 flat, 57.1 could possibly win. I think, again, it's not about necessarily going world records. It's about racing here. And Adam's going to set the tone early, as he always does. Nobody can hold that 61, 62 stroke rate on the way back. I have to say, the Italian guy, Niccolo Martinenghi, held very close to that all the way down, all the way back. Kaminga, he slows a little bit. Arno slows a little bit of stroke rate rise on the second 50. Can't stay without him. But those are the 3 guys to watch. I'd kind of hope Michael would be down in the low 58s, having a shot at a bronze. I don't know that he does, but I'm pulling for him to do that. Andrew Wilson swam a good swim, but I don't think Andrew's going to medal either in lane 8. And now let's talk about the women's 400 free. This has really turned out kind of what we expected. I watched the prelims this morning, and I have to tell you, Ariane, who went 4:01.6, looked easy doing it. Katie, 4:00.04, better than she looked in the trials. This is going to shape up to be a 2-woman race, and I think the question is, as I told, and we talked about in the last show, who's going to come home the best in that last 50. But the way they looked this morning, and I think the way Ariane is swimming, I expect her to win, and she's going to be tough to beat at the end. She has, watch her breathing pattern. She has that 4-2 pattern all the way through the 400. Her stroke rate will speed up a little bit. And in the 4 strokes, she doesn't breathe, and then she slows a little bit for the 2 breaths. But she's very consistent. She keeps a 90 stroke rate all the way through. Katie's going to start out with a close to 100 stroke rate in the first 50. She'll tone it down into the low 90s. But the question is, how well is she going to be able to come home? Out in 157 this morning, She's got to come back much better than she did in this morning's race. So the question to me is who's going to get the bronze medal here? And I have to say I was kind of hoping that the young 14-year-old girl from Canada, who's Summer McIntosh, would sneak in there for the bronze medal, but I don't think she will. I think Bingji Li from China is going to end up getting the bronze medal. And she had a great second half. She's going to come back strong. I don't see her challenging Ledecky or Titmus, but I do think she's going to sneak in there for the bronze. Glad to see Paige Madden make the finals. Don't think she has a chance for a medal. She swam a good race. Hope she improves. But I'd like to see Summer McIntosh. You know, she's only 14-year-old, had a lifetime. This is a Canadian record she set in the prelims. I'd like to see her drop another second or so. I think it's just going to take around 4:00, 4:01 to get that bronze medal. So that's going to be an exciting race. Who's going to win that one? Well, Katie has, dominated this race, but 2 years ago, Ariane showed up at the World Championships wanting to proclaim a new champion for the 400, and she did. And is she going to be able to retain that title from 2 years ago? I think she does. Katie's going to give it a valiant effort, and it's going to go down to the last 50. So it's going to be a nail biter. And then we have the men's 400 free relay. Gosh, this one also is going to be an interesting race. Now, we've got the top three teams here listed, but I have to tell you, lane 8 is a wild card, and that's Russia. Russia pushed out the UK. Both of those teams should have been in the finals by 4/100ths of a second. Russia almost doesn't get in the finals, and yet Russia could contend for the gold medal. That's how good they are. Now, they held off a couple of their best swimmers, thinking they were going to be able to get in without struggling, but their anchor man really didn't swim well, and, they just didn't have a good swim. What really surprised me this morning was Italy. Now, Italy, they're going to have to go faster to win it tonight, but 3:10.2 is a fast time for the prelims. They swam their best guys. They're going to swim them again tonight. Really look at all those splits, all in the 47s. That's a great team. I mean, all four of those guys, and Moresi leading off in 47.4, tremendous leadoff leg. And what are the U.S. is going to do? Well, I predict the U.S. is going to beat Italy, and I think they're going to win the gold tonight. And the only question is, do they lead off with Caleb or do they lead off with Zach? And I think the answer to me is they lead off with Caleb. And I would love to see Caleb go under the world record tonight leading off. If he does and gets them out in the lead, I don't think they ever relinquish that lead. They had a great swim from Bo Becker this morning, 47.5. And Blake Peroni threw down a 47.7. All those guys need to do is stay the same. Maybe Blake goes a little faster. He's a finals kind of guy, and I would expect to see him maybe go 47 mid. And then Zach finished with a 47.1, outdone by only Chalmers, who finished with 46.6 this morning for Australia. Tremendous anchor leg for Chalmers, but man, that sets up an interesting battle between Chalmers and Caleb Dressel in the 100 free. So we'll see what Caleb does on the leadoff. Chalmers is going to go last, I'm pretty sure, for Australia, so you won't see those two teams or two guys next to each other, I don't think, tonight in the finals. But I think the U.S. wins it. I think I'm going to predict, this is going out on a limb after this morning, but I think Russia takes second from the lane 8. And a lot of people may think, no way, but they've got two fast swimmers. Clement's going to be on there tonight swimming for them. And I think they're going to be a surprise in the outside lane. I also, I think Australia is just going to get nosed out for the bronze by Italy. I expect Italy to come back and take the bronze medal tonight on the relay. So, what's that?
We can just talk about medium octane freestyle.
Yeah, we just came out with this new video for our elite members, and we'd love to have you join up if you haven't already. You're going to get new content all the time. We just released this medium octane recovery freestyle. This is Jimmy Fegan. Jimmy was Olympian for the United States, 2016, 47.5, world champion. Great example of doing kind of high octane on one side and medium to medium high on the other. And you're going to see a lot of the 100 freestylers tonight in the men's side. You saw a lot of them in the women's side last night using that medium high octane in the freestyle. Also want to comment on the women's 4x100 relay from Australia. All 4 of those women were on an every 4 breathing pattern, which to me, I haven't really advocated that. And I think those women did a great job of holding their stroke and finishing strong. And it's a tribute to how well they're trained, because they're getting 1 breath. Most of them around 100 stroke rate. Kate Campbell's a little bit under that. She's longer and she's got a tremendous distance per stroke, but most of those girls are 100 stroke rate, and they're breathing every 4 strokes. They're getting 25 breaths a minute, which is anything but physiological, and they're still coming home back strong. And that's a tribute to great training, great aerobic conditioning, and the way they finish. Again, Ariane Titmus tonight with a 4-2 pattern in her breathing. Very unusual to see that and come home strong as she does. But most of the men you're going to see breathing every cycle. I did see a few from Italy breathing every 4th or in a 4-2 pattern, but I don't think that bodes well. And Santorini, for example, or Santo Condorelli, for example, from Italy, tried going 4-2 pattern, and he really suffered at the end of his race. And I'm not sure that was a smart thing for him to do. I think more breathing, sometimes the men's, they breathe more because they produce lactate at a higher level. They need the oxygen in there to keep the aerobic system going. And so it's a different breathing pattern, particularly in the 100 freestyle for the men than you'll see in the women. Anyway, if you can join, go to youtube.com and just go on Race Club channel, search for the Race Club, hit join, and it's $4.99 a month. You're going to see a lot of great content coming from us. Every week or 2, we'll release a new video into that membership. Last week, we released a whole series on butterfly breathing, and this week, we released a video on medium octane freestyle. We have a whole series on octane levels in freestyle. Now let's talk about the women's 100 breaststroke, which they had the heats this morning. And this young lady from South Africa, Tatiana Shoemaker, proved that stroke rate really matters. And she went 104.8 in that prelim of the 100 breaststroke, putting the world on notice. Now, we expected her to be incredible in the 200, but I don't think we were quite expecting that to happen in the 100. So she ripped off a 104.8 this morning. Lydia Jacoby, a 105.5, came back strong, swimming right next to her. Lilly King looked good, 105.5. Again, a prelim swim. I think a lot's going to be mentally is going to determine by the semifinals tonight. And I think the race, is going to boil down between Tatiana and Lilly, in my opinion. Yulia Efimova had a 106, I believe, and she's still in there. But I think the race goes down to Lilly. Very high stroke rate, but Tatiana actually outstroke rated Lilly, if that's the correct way of saying it, but she was outstroke rating. Tatiana was 58, 59, all the way down, all the way back. Lily's about a 56 stroke rate, down, and 55, 56 coming back. I have to say that looking at Lydia here in the Olympic trials, on the other side in the yellow circle that you saw earlier, that's Lydia Jacoby, who's got a really kind of an old school breaststroke, tremendous propulsion, doesn't elevate as high, doesn't keep the stroke rate up very well, but she's still so powerful with her kick, she's able to go 105. I don't think Lydia's going to go under 105.5 tonight. I don't know. She might, but I think she's probably not going to medal. I see that, I see this race really boiling down between Tatiana and Lilly in the 100. And here Lilly comes in the trials, 104.7. I think she's going to go under 105 tonight. Tomorrow, I think it's those two that are going to duke it out for the gold medal. The bronze, I'm not sure. That's an interesting call. And I did notice that Benedetta Pelota from Italy was disqualified this morning for an illegal kick. I'm not sure exactly when or where that was called. I didn't see any underwaters of her. Not sure if it was a dolphin kick she did on the breakout, on the pullout, or whether it was during her actual swim. But she was disqualified. She's the world record holder in the 50. And she was very, very upset, crying, and very emotional about that. And I feel bad for her. But look for a great race tomorrow night with Tatiana and Lilly, and in the semifinals tonight. I think those two will establish themselves as the ones to beat. Men's 100 backstroke, also a great prelim this morning. Clement Kolesnikov really, to me, established himself as the guy to beat in this race. Really fast stroke rate. Look at Clement's stroke rate. First 50, he was just going bonkers, crazy how fast. Really, to me, he took his foot off the gas pedal at the end and still went 52-1. The other guy that I think backed off who swam a nice race was Jiao Hu from China. Jiao was 52.7, and I think Jiao is going to go 52 low this in the semifinals tonight. And this Thomas Chechon from Italy, 52.49. Not sure what to expect from him, but the way I look at this race is it's really a three-man race between Kolesnikov, Jiao, and Ryan Murphy. Ryan was 53.2, but he wasn't even breathing hard at the end of that. I expect Ryan to go 52 mid in the semifinals. And Ryan's experienced. He's not gonna lay it all out on the line in the prelims. He won't even do that tonight, but he's going to make the finals. He wants to be in a center lane. He doesn't want to be in the outside lane. He knows he has to go 52 mid to do that. Maybe 52 low. Is he going to go all out? Well, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think so. But he just knows how much to give, and he wants to be in the center. So he's going to have to go 52 mid or 52 low to get there. And so I think those three guys are going to have a great race tomorrow night. Who's going to win that one? Well, I have to pull for Ryan. I think Ryan is just a seasoned veteran. He's having a great year. He's tough. He gets better when the pressure gets on. But Clement, he may have something to say about that. We'll see what kind of statement he makes in the semifinals tonight. Wouldn't be surprised to see Clement go under the world record in the semifinals tonight. I think he's the only one that goes under 52 tonight. The rest, I think, is going to be Jiao Yu and Ryan in the middle. I think Thomas Chechon had a great swim. Was he, holding back? I don't think so. I think that's maybe his best swim. We'll find out. But it's going to be a really interesting race. Hats off to Ryosuke Irie also. I don't know how old he is, but that guy's been swimming backstroke for a long time. One of the most beautiful backstrokers ever. And not a big guy, but I don't know how many times he's been under 53, 52 to 99. He's got to be into his late 20s, maybe even early 30s. I'm not sure, but he's been around a while. Good swim for him, and I hope he makes it into the finals. Okay. What else we've got? The women's 100 backstroke. Oh my gosh, another great race, and I think this one is also going to boil down to three women. Kaylee McCown, 57.88, looked really strong doing it this morning. Reagan also looked good, 57.9. Not as fast a stroke rate as she's going to go in the semis. And tomorrow in the finals, she was around 102, 103. She can get up to 108, 109, and that's where she'll be. Kylie Mass was also very strong this morning at 58.1. It's those three women that are going to duke it out, and I think it's the race is going to boil down probably to Kaylee McKeown from Australia and Reagan Smith in the U.S. I think Kylie's going to be right in there, but I see her possibly getting the bronze. Who gets the gold on this one? Well, I think Reagan's going to do it. I just think she's really tough, and I think she doesn't have the 200 to swim. This is her focus, and I think she's really going to get after it tomorrow night. What are they going to go tonight? Are we going to see a world record in the semis? Possibly. If we do see a world record, I think it's going to be tonight, but we'll see. It's going to be a great race. And tomorrow night, it's more about racing. I don't necessarily see a world record tomorrow night. Anyway, I think those are our forecasts. Those are what we got in store for you. And let's take some questions. And I've got a few up in front of me here.
We have Adam who's wondering if you could break down the Ohashi's backstroke and breaststroke a little bit.
So, yeah. Ohashi wins the 400 IM last night, and I think she wins it in the breaststroke. Her backstroke looks incredibly smooth, and that's kind of typical. I'd say Japan has the best looking backstrokers on. The only criticism I'd say of her backstroke is I felt her stroke rate was just a little bit slow. It was in the mid 70s. A lot of the backstrokers in the 400 IM are around 82, and I felt she was around 70 to 73, and maybe just a bit slow. She still had a good split in her backstroke. In fact, what did she split on her? Let's see, I've got it written down here. Her backstroke split was, what was she? No, I guess I don't have it. I thought I had it, but I did. But she was fast in her backstroke, but it looked really easy doing it. What's really interesting about that race, go back and look at the YouTube. She evidently didn't touch the wall with her hand, because the foot time that was registered at her 200 time is her foot time, not her hand time. But her 116.9 in the breaststroke really blew the field away. And even though Emma Wyan came back on the freestyle and she just ran out of room, didn't have enough to finish. I don't know what Emma's finishing 100 was, but probably fastest in the field. Haley also came back pretty well in the freestyle. So I think the back breast is the key part of the IM, and it was obviously what won the IM for Chase in the 400 IM as well.
With a couple of people wondering how good you think Sarah Sjöström is.
Sarah's going to have to kind of tell us tonight how good she is, and how mentally tough she is. Well, we're going to find out tonight in the 100 fly. You never count out Sarah Sjöström, one of the toughest swimmers and the greatest butterflyer of all time. So is she going to be able to come back and swim after this really devastating break in her elbow just about 4 months ago or less in Sweden? She slipped on the ice, was in a cast for a month, doing a lot of kicking. And for her to come back from that and swim a world record tonight would be an incredible race. If she wins it, I'm going to eat my words, but because I didn't predict her to medal. But it would just show what a mentally tough swimmer she is, and she is one of the greatest swimmers of all time. I think she's got her work cut out for her. I think, we'll see how she does, but it'll be an interesting race, great race. But Sarah's one of my favorite. By the way, I'm going to mention it. I consider three of the greatest races, the three greatest races of all time, to be Michael Phelps' 400 IM from 2008, 403, Sarah's 50 fly in 2014, where she went 24.4, which would have been a top 10 freestyle time in the 50. No one else, I don't think, has been under 25, and she went 24.4. And then the third one was Caleb Dressel's 17.6 in a 50-yard freestyle, which I think was just an amazing swim. So those three, to me, are the greatest swims. But I consider Sarah to be the best flyer always. Is she in her best form tonight? I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. So I have to give some shout out to David Popovici. We weren't sure if he was going to show up in the Olympics, being 16 years old, almost 17 now, but still to show up and do as well as he did in the 200 free prelims at 1:45.2 was a great swim for him. This guy has no fear, and that sort of set the tone for how good he's going to be, not only in the 200 but also in the 100. So we'll see. I mean, is he good enough to medal? I don't know. That 200 free is going to be a really interesting race. There's a lot of people in there, and it's all bunched up, and I don't know who to predict yet on that one. I haven't made my predictions on that one, but I was glad to see him swim well. The kid is absolutely fearless, and we should see a great 200 free out of him in the semifinals tonight. Let's look at another question.
That's all we have for now.
PD untouchable in the 100 breast? Yeah, I just don't see anybody that can. I mean, the guy is so good and really has dominated that event. We've gone way over our time, so I guess we'll cut out for now. It's been great. There's a lot to talk about, a lot of great Olympic swims so far. I think it's going to continue through 9 days of swimming. So stay glued to the television, and we'll catch you 2 more days. Give us a day to kind of recover, and we'll have more predictions, more recaps, and more technical explanations of why the swimmers are using, what techniques they're using, and why in 2 days. So thanks for joining us. Don't forget to join our YouTube membership. Click on join, go to the YouTube, just click join up there in the box on the top of the screen, and you'll get all of our content, and you'll be an elite member of the race club, and we'd love to have you become one of those. Thanks again. We'll talk to you. Today is Sunday. We will talk to you on Tuesday at 5 o'clock Eastern, same channel. Thanks for watching.